AITA for canceling the wedding after my fiancée bragged online about sleeping with her ex? I am a 34-year-old named Marcus, and I was engaged to Brittany, a 27-year-old woman everyone called Bree. We had been together for 3 years after meeting through a mutual friend at a motorcycle rally in downtown Austin, Texas. I own a motorcycle repair and fabrication shop called Cole Customs that I built from scratch 10 years ago. We specialize in classic American bikes and high-end custom builds. I take home about $140,000 a year. My business has a solid reputation. We have a 6-month waiting list for custom orders and a steady stream of repairs coming from collectors who wouldn't trust their vintage Harley or Indian to just anyone. I grew up with a wrench in my hands. My dad ran his own auto garage until he retired, and my mom handled the books. They taught me 2 things: how to build something that lasts and how not to get screwed financially. Dad always said that in business as in love, you need to know exactly what you are getting into. Bree's father, Thomas, is a retired Marine colonel who launched a security consulting firm after leaving the Corps. He is an upright man who always treated me with respect. He appreciated my work ethic and business sense, often coming to the shop just to talk bikes and business strategy. Marcus has a good head on his shoulders, I heard him say to his wife once. Her mother, Patricia, on the other hand, was the caricature of a country club trophy wife who had used her beauty to marry money. She had never worked a day in her life and always made it known that their family belonged in the affluent West Lake Hills neighborhood. She tolerated me at best, constantly hinting that Bree's ex-boyfriend, Chase, was making real corporate money now. At every dinner, she talked to me about my little garage as if I were running a lemonade stand. Bree was different from the women I usually dated. She was obsessed with social media and always chasing trends. She worked part-time at a downtown boutique, making $38,000 a year, but spent more time dreaming of becoming an influencer than actually working. She could spend hours staging the perfect photo of her latte, then complain about not being able to pay the down payment on a Range Rover. Her family had money, not Texas oil tycoon money, but enough that she never learned the value of a dollar. My previous relationships were with women who had their own careers and ambitions. With Bree, I always felt like the responsible adult, but she was beautiful and fun, and when she focused her attention on you, it was like being in a spotlight. I confused that thrill with something deeper. In hindsight, there were signs. Like when my shop won a local Best of Austin award last year, and instead of coming to the ceremony, she canceled at the last minute for an influencer launch event. "It is just motorcycles, Marcus. This could be my big break," she said. She didn't even text to ask how it went. Or when she scrolled through Instagram every time I told her about a new custom order I was excited about, occasionally looking up to say that's nice before asking if we could go eat somewhere more Instagrammable than my favorite barbecue joint. She even once suggested I rebrand my shop with a pastel color scheme because black and chrome was outdated. I almost choked on my iced tea. There was also that weekend I rebuilt a classic '69 Triumph. It took over 60 hours of work hunting down rare parts from collectors in 3 states and solving mechanical problems that would have made most people quit. When I finished, I asked her to come see it. She walked into the garage, glanced at it for 3 seconds, and said frankly, "They all look the same. I don't know why you waste so much time on this." I acted like it was nothing, but excuse me? Wasting time? That remark stuck with me. Or when we were house hunting and I showed her a property with a detached 3-car garage perfect for a home workshop, she immediately asked if we could turn it into a content creation studio, because that is where the real money is. When I reminded her that my hobby paid our bills, she rolled her eyes and said for now, but once I have 100,000 followers, we will be on another level. She stayed stuck at 3,892 followers the entire time we were together. The proposal was 10 months ago. It cost me nearly $4,000 plus $12,000 for the custom diamond ring. I spent weeks planning, coordinating with the restaurant, and making sure everything was perfect. She said yes, cried, then posted on social media 30 seconds later. The wedding was set for September, the venue booked, deposits paid, and 175 guests confirmed. At this stage, I had already spent about $22,000 in deposits and prepayments. Bree had contributed exactly $0. "My job is to be beautiful," she joked every time I brought up costs. I was working overtime at the shop to cover everything, taking on highly profitable custom orders and expanding our service hours. In reality, the business was growing thanks to this hustle, so I didn't mind too much, but my cash reserves had clearly dwindled. Last Friday night, Bree was at a girls' night. I was at home working on blueprints for a custom Indian chief, half focused on the Spurs game, when I noticed her friend Madison was live on Instagram. The stream was titled Bride Tribe Confessions. Madison has always been the type to speak without thinking. She has been Bree's best friend since the University of Texas, and honestly, I always found her about as authentic as a $3 Rolex. I clicked on it thinking I would see banalities about wedding prep. And there was Bree right in the center with Madison and 3 other friends, Chloe, Hannah, and my cousin's wife Elena, whom I thought was my friend first. Then Madison looked at Bree with this smug look. So honestly, how does he handle all this? Does he still do that annoying thing where he tracks every cent of the wedding budget? Bree actually snorted with laughter. Oh my God, Marcus is such an idiot. He thinks this wedding is just ticking boxes, respecting budgets and schedules. He has absolutely no idea about the real things, like the fact that I am going to redecorate his man cave as soon as we get back from the honeymoon. Madison burst out laughing. Please, Bree waved her hand dismissively. That garage workshop will be the first thing to go. I already have a contractor ready to turn it into a real filming studio and dressing room. Marcus can rent another space if he wants to play with his bikes. I felt my stomach knot. That home workshop was my sanctuary, built with my own hands, wired exactly how I wanted, with specialized equipment and storage systems I had designed myself. Hannah chimed in with her perfectly mastered look of fake concern. I am just afraid you are settling. Bree, you always talked about wanting to marry someone more ambitious, more on your social level. Honestly, sometimes I think he is more in love with those stupid bikes than with me, blurted Bree, a bit tipsy. But whatever, he is easy to handle and has a good income. So that will fund the house I want in West Lake Hills and the trips to Europe I am planning once I have him well trained. Chloe leaned forward with a predatory smile. That is exactly why I told you to hook him. My aunt married a plumber, a real bore. But today, he is loaded with 3 establishments. You smile, you nod during their boring work conversation, and you enjoy the financial security. He is completely under your thumb. Girl, you have that man wrapped around your little finger, said Madison. Remember when he wanted to use part of the wedding budget for that charity thing involving bikes? And all you had to do was mention how disappointed the bridesmaids would be to have cheaper dresses, and he caved immediately. That charity was for veterans suffering from PTSD who use motorcycle restoration as therapy. I wanted to donate $2,000 and offer my time as a volunteer. I had caved because Bree made it seem like it was so important to her that the bridesmaids had the perfect dresses. And now I was learning it was just manipulation. Exactly, Bree gloated. He is so boring and predictable. So safe, he would never suspect a thing. He thinks I am just his perfect little princess. Speaking of not suspecting anything, Madison relaunched with a sly smile. Bree giggled, leaning in as if she was about to reveal a state secret. Marcus is so out of it. I saw Chase again 2 weeks ago when Marcus was at that part show in Dallas. The girls let out dramatic exclamations. Except Elena, who suddenly found her glass of wine fascinating. You didn't hook up with Chase, shouted Hannah. Bree's face said it all. Maybe, and maybe it wasn't the first time since Marcus and I have been together. Girl, Madison high-fived her, and Marcus has no idea. None. He is too busy to notice anything. Chase texted me the whole time I was with Marcus. It is not serious or anything, but the chemistry is way better. And Chase really knows how to have fun. Elena, visibly uncomfortable, tried to change the subject. The venue is really beautiful. By the way, Marcus seemed so enthusiastic about that. What a complete idiot, cut in Bree. And they all burst out laughing, her whole family. I didn't feel anger, just clarity. Like someone had finally turned on the light in a dark room where I had been bumping into things for 3 years. All the red flags I had ignored, every compromise I had made, every time I had stifled that little voice telling me something was off, it all made sense now. I had never been her partner. I typed into the live chat with my real account. Glad to know what you really think. The comments scrolled, but Madison saw it first. Her eyes went wide. Bree, she whispered, pointing at the screen. Bree leaned in, squinting. Her smile froze, then pure panic took over. Her face turned white. I typed again, Bree. Since you are explaining to everyone what a moron I am, Let's be clear. The wedding is off. Engagement over. Find someone else's income to fund your dreams in Westlake Hills. Chase can pay. She struggled with her phone to end the live. Madison, stop this. Cut the live. The last thing I saw before it cut was her face. Pure horror. She was staring at her friends who looked just as stunned. Elena looked directly at the camera and mouthed, "I am sorry," before the screen went black. My phone lit up immediately. Bree and Madison were calling and messaging. I put my cell on airplane mode. I took the ring and locked it in my safe. I sat down and made a list of everything I needed to handle. Legal protection, financial separation, securing assets, notifying vendors, and settling the housing issue. I have always been methodical, and that wasn't going to change. No point getting carried away by emotions when there is work to do. 40 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Bree was there, mascara running down her face, looking like a raccoon caught in the headlights. Her mother, Patricia, was right behind her, ready to demand to speak to the manager. "Marcus, please," Bree's voice broke. It was a joke, just stupid girl talk. We were just fooling around. It meant nothing. Patricia stepped forward, adjusting her blouse. "Young man, you humiliated my daughter for simple, insignificant female chatter. You cannot cancel a wedding for something so trivial. Do you have any idea what people will say?" I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "It was a joke when you called me a moron. It was a joke when you said I was easy to manipulate, that my only value was funding your lifestyle. Sleeping with Chase, was that a joke too?" "No." "Well, yes, I said those things, but it was Madison pushing me and the wine. And you know I love you, and I didn't sleep with Chase. I was just making stuff up to sound cool." "Yeah, because that is what people in relationships do, brag about fictional affairs to impress their friends." "I don't think you understand, Bree. And I surely don't like the person I just saw in that video." "This is ridiculous," intervened Patricia. "We already paid deposits. A $23,000 venue. Guests coming from out of state. You are going to fix this, Marcus. I will not allow my daughter to be humiliated." I burst out laughing. Couldn't help it. "Patricia, your daughter just declared publicly that she intended to use me as an ATM and bragged about cheating on me. There is nothing to fix here except the mistake I made proposing to her." "You don't understand," hissed Patricia. "My daughter has a certain status to maintain. Her friends all know about the wedding. How do you think this makes her look? Like someone who got caught showing her true colors," I retorted. "Not my problem." Bree burst into louder sobs. "My dress cost $6,800. The venue is perfect. My friends saw everything. You ruined everything. You ruined everything yourself. If you want to find someone to blame, look in a mirror." Patricia moved closer, pointing her finger at me. "If you think Thomas will let you break this engagement, you are mistaken." "Great. I can't wait to hear what he thinks about the fact that his daughter was unfaithful and called me a moron in front of the entire internet." I told them to leave. Patricia continued to threaten legal action. It didn't worry me. I hadn't done anything wrong, and I had video proof of Bree's words and her admission of infidelity. Finally, they left, but not before Patricia promised it wasn't over. My phone kept vibrating with texts from her friends. Some furious, others trying to explain what she really meant. I took screenshots of everything to have a record. With people like that, proof is your best defense. I turned my phone back on just to send a text to my best friend Jamal. "Wedding off. Need a place to stay?" In less than 10 minutes, he was at my door with a duffel bag for me and his spare key. "I don't want to be here when she comes back," I told him. "And she will come back." "You are damn right," said Jamal. "What the hell happened?" I showed him the recording of the live stream I had made. "Man, what a snake." He handed me a water bottle. "Pack your bags. You are coming to my place until we sort this out." I took my important documents and essentials. That night, from Jamal's place, I made 2 phone calls. One to my lawyer, Rebecca Vance, and the other to a locksmith to change all the locks first thing in the morning. I was leaving nothing to chance. "Send me the recording," said Rebecca after I explained the situation. I know exactly what we are dealing with. She wasn't just my business lawyer, but had also handled her share of messy breakups. She had helped a buddy when his ex tried to claim a share of his construction business, even though she had never contributed to it. Just before we left my house, Thomas arrived alone. His expression was somber, his military posture evident even in civilian clothes. "Marcus," he said in a steady voice. "Do you have a minute?" I nodded, signaling Jamal to wait in the car. Thomas and I stepped onto the porch. I saw the video, he said bluntly. Patricia showed it to me thinking it would make me take Bree's side. He shook his head. She was wrong. I didn't know how to respond to that. I have always respected you, Marcus. You remind me of myself at the same age. You are building something real. You work with your hands. You are honest to the core. I raised Bree to be better than that. His jaw clenched. Whatever happens now, I want you to know I don't blame you. He put his hand on my shoulder. Do what you have to do. Me. I have my own problems to solve. As he was walking away, he paused. And for what it's worth, I am sorry, truly. The next morning, I met Rebecca at her office downtown. She had already viewed the video and prepared a first draft of documents before my arrival. My lawyer Rebecca explained that we needed to focus on two priorities: protecting me and my business against harassment and untangling any financial ties before they became problematic. She laid out several documents on her desk while speaking. I had to log everything. Every call, every message, every encounter. Texas being a one-party consent state regarding recording conversations, I could legally record any interaction where I was a participant. She pointed out that we were going to file for a temporary restraining order for harassment, the video constituting solid evidence. In the middle of the discussion with Rebecca, Carlos called me from the shop. He announced that Bree and her mother were causing a scene in front of customers, demanding that I come out to fix this story. He had already asked them to leave twice, but Patricia was now threatening to call the Better Business Bureau. I replied to Carlos that I was coming, keeping him on speaker so Rebecca could hear the scene live. I asked her if she wanted to witness this in person. Absolutely, she nodded. That will strengthen our case. When we arrived at the shop, Bree and Patricia were still there. Bree was crying dramatically. Patricia was demanding that I come own up to destroying her daughter's life. My shop foreman, Carlos, who had worked with me since opening, stood between them and the work area to prevent them from entering where the machines were running. Ma'am, I already told you Mr. Cole is not available. This is a workplace. If you don't leave, I will have to call the police. Don't you dare threaten me. Do you know who my husband is? Someone who might be very embarrassed when the police arrive, replied Carlos calmly. Two customers were watching the scene with unease while another had taken out his phone to film. Perfect. Exactly what I was missing. A viral video of a family dispute. Rebecca stepped forward. Miss Ellis, Mrs. Ellis, I am Rebecca Vance, Mr. Cole's attorney. You are currently trespassing on private property and harassing the employees as well as the customers of this establishment. Patricia turned, eyes narrowing. He already has a lawyer? Well, that proves he planned to abandon my daughter from the start. No, ma'am, replied Rebecca composedly. It proves he is reacting appropriately to harassment. I strongly advise you to leave immediately. All future communication will have to go through my office. She handed her card to Patricia. You aren't serious, Marcus, said Bree looking at me pleadingly. Tell her we don't need a lawyer. We can fix this. The time to fix things was before you publicly humiliated me and admitted to cheating. I replied calmly. Please, leave my shop now. You heard him? Added Carlos. And to be clear, I already called the police. They should be here any minute. There, she froze. Patricia grabbed Bree's arm. Come, this isn't over, but we won't settle this here. When they left, Carlos shook his head. Boss, I have seen guys fall off bikes at 80 miles per hour and walk away with less damage than what you just dodged. This incident was the last straw. I didn't intend to wait for it to escalate. I had already sent Rebecca the full recording of the live stream as well as the videos of the scene at the shop captured by my security cameras. This is textbook harassment, concluded Rebecca during our meeting that same afternoon. Given what I see, we must go directly to legal protection. Let's file a restraining order immediately. I nodded. Do it. I know how these things go. She won't let it go on her own. Rebecca was already typing her notes. Good decision. I will file the documents today. Back at the shop, I gathered my 5 employees for a quick meeting. Some of you saw what happened earlier. Bree and I are done. She might cause problems. If she shows up here, don't argue. Call me and call the police. Carlos nodded. I already briefed the guys while you were gone. We are with you. I spent the rest of the afternoon doing damage control with the customers who witnessed the scene. Labor discounts. Priority appointments. Anything to limit the bad impression. Most were understanding. Some even shared their own messy breakup stories. Jamal accompanied me home to get more things while the restraining order was being processed. Bree had entered with the spare key I had forgotten and was waiting for me. Jamal stood guard while I gathered clothes, important papers, and my collection of vintage Harley parts she had once said she wanted to destroy. You realize this is breaking and entering, right? I said calmly, grabbing my computer. I have security cameras. Everything is recorded. It is not breaking and entering if I have a key, yelled Madison, who had apparently driven her there. You can't stop everything because of a stupid video. Watch me, I replied, closing my duffel bag. The locksmith arrived as we were leaving. I made sure he changed all the locks right in front of me. I also had him install a smart doorbell with a camera capable of recording every movement and sending me an alert. It cost me $842, but every cent was worth it for my peace of mind. Back at Jamal's, I went into financial protection mode. I canceled all joint accounts, removed her as an authorized user on my credit cards, changed all my passwords, and placed fraud alerts on my accounts. I knew money was often the first target during a breakup. I also called vendors to cancel wedding preparations. Most had non-refundable deposits, but some agreed to make a gesture given the circumstances. The venue manager was understanding, especially after I showed him the video. He finally agreed to refund 60% of the deposit as a one-time exception. The temporary restraining order was granted in record time, 48 hours after filing. Rebecca had highlighted the public humiliation, the unauthorized intrusion into my home, the scene at my business, and Bree's constant calls as proof of harassment. The judge deemed her behavior justified immediate protection. When Bree received the papers, she exploded, calling me from a new number. A restraining order? Are you kidding? I am your fiancé. Ex-fiancé, I corrected, and you are violating the order by calling me. I hung up and forwarded the call history as well as the voicemail to Rebecca. Every interaction served as evidence for the hearing on the permanent order scheduled for the following week. I was surprised when Thomas called me that evening. Marcus, I heard my daughter received legal papers today. That is correct, I replied, bracing for what came next. Good, he said dryly. Maybe she will finally understand that actions have consequences. You aren't angry? I asked. Son, I am furious, but not at you. I spent 25 years trying to develop character in that girl, and her mother spent the same time undermining it. Patricia is at the house right now telling Bree how to fight this injustice. I am calling you from my truck parked in the driveway because I can't stand being in there. I am sorry you were caught in the middle of this, I said. Don't be. It has been brewing for a long time. Listen, I wanted to warn you. Patricia was telling Bree she had to fight fire with fire. Whatever that means, it won't be good. Thanks for the warning, I replied. I have security cameras installed at home and at the shop, and Rebecca is documenting everything. Smart, stay on your guard. Once Bree realized I wasn't joking with the judicial system, the harassment became digital. My Spotify account was hacked. My Amazon password was changed. Then I received a notification for a series of charges on a credit card where I was the primary holder and she was an authorized user. I had forgotten about that card. She had just gone on a $2,700 shopping spree at Nordstrom and Sephora. I immediately called the card company, reported unauthorized use, and disputed the charges. They froze the account and opened a fraud investigation. Bree also borrowed my vintage Triumph parts from our shared storage unit, rare finds I had taken years to collect worth about $2,200. I filed a theft report and added that to the pending file. The storage unit was a rookie mistake on my part. We had rented it together 6 months earlier when I was making room in my garage for the gym she had used exactly twice. I should have removed my stuff as soon as the breakup happened, but it had slipped my mind with everything going on. Things took an even uglier turn when my sister called me bewildered. Marcus, why is Bree telling everyone you cheated on her? Her friend Hannah just messaged me asking if I knew about your affair with someone at the shop. I took a deep breath. It is false. She is the one who was unfaithful, and now she is trying to reverse the roles. Yeah, I suspected that, said my sister. I just wanted to warn you that she is spreading it everywhere. Mom even got a weird call from Patricia saying you had broken Bree's heart after she caught you with someone else. Great. They were now attacking my family. The same day, Carlos took me aside at the shop. Boss, we lost the Rodriguez contract and the Freeman job. Both canceled this morning. That is strange. Did they say why? Carlos looked uncomfortable. Mrs. Freeman said she had heard disturbing things about how you treat women and she didn't want to support the business. The puzzle pieces instantly clicked into place. Carlos had figured it out too. She is trying to attack your reputation. The Rodriguez and Freeman projects were worth about $28,000 total. Not enough to sink the business, but a hard blow to our quarterly forecasts, and mostly those clients were well-connected and could influence other members of our clientele. I called Rebecca immediately. They are spreading lies about me, and now it is costing me business. 2 clients just canceled big projects. That is defamation, stated Rebecca. We must add this to the file and file separately for defamation. Do you have proof linking Bree or her friends to these accusations? I am working on it, I replied. I remembered my cousin's wife, Elena, who had witnessed the live stream. I contacted her. Guilt was eating at her, and she was ready to help. They have a group chat where Madison coordinates everything, she admitted. I can send you screenshots. Elena had known Bree since college, but she was married to my cousin. She was stuck in the middle and visibly guilty about what was happening. The screenshots were damning. Madison had created an anonymous email address and was sending messages to my clients claiming I had gambling debts, that I had cheated on Bree, and that I was unstable and dangerous. In one message, she even specified wanting to target female clients to hit him where it hurts, his precious business. Bree actively encouraged this, writing he thinks he can just walk away and get away with it. Let's see how he feels when his reputation is in tatters. She gave detailed instructions on which clients to target first, specifically women-owned businesses and clients who had recently brought expensive bikes to the shop. They had clearly dug through my shop's social media to identify clients. I forwarded everything to Rebecca. The temporary restraining order already forbids this kind of behavior, so they are accumulating violations. This will make the permanent order a formality and give us solid grounds to ask for damages for my business losses. Then my phone rang. It was Thomas. Marcus, I heard disturbing things. I told him about the defamation situation. Long silence on the other end. Send me everything you have, he said finally. This stops now. The following days were a whirlwind of crisis management. I personally called every female client in our database, explaining that false rumors were being spread by my ex-fiancée. Most were understanding, a few skeptical, but at least I had gotten ahead of it. Carlos had the idea to organize a customer appreciation day at the shop. We offered free basic maintenance checks, discounted oil changes, and a barbecue buffet from a local caterer. It cost us about $1,500, but it brought back the majority of our regular clients and helped counter the rumors. Several people told me they received strange emails, but didn't believe them. 2 days before the hearing, I received an official letter from Bree's lawyer, Mr. Henderson, proposing to settle the matter amicably if I withdrew my request for a restraining order and my defamation complaints. In exchange, Bree would agree not to pursue her own complaints for emotional distress and invasion of privacy. I forwarded the letter to Rebecca, who called me laughing. Invasion of privacy for recording a public live stream? And emotional distress? Why exactly? For being caught saying horrible things about you? It is a desperate bluff. They know they have no case. The hearing for the permanent restraining order and the preliminary review of the defamation suit was set a week later. Rebecca had accelerated everything, arguing that the ongoing damages to the business justified immediate action. Bree arrived looking like a martyred saint at an audition, misty-eyed, dressed in a demure outfit I had never seen her wear. Gone were the designer jeans and crop tops. She wore a modest navy blue dress that probably came straight from Patricia's closet. Patricia was there too, glaring at me as if I were the villain of the story. Madison was also skulking in the back until the judge ordered her to sit down and be quiet or face expulsion. What I didn't expect was Thomas. Sitting on my side of the courtroom, impassive and upright in his impeccably pressed suit. He gave me a slight nod when I entered. Their lawyer, Mr. Henderson, tried to portray Bree as a heartbroken woman, unfairly abandoned, who was just going through a difficult mourning period. Your Honor, Mr. Cole unilaterally ended a 3-year relationship because of a single unfortunate conversation. Miss Ellis's actions, while perhaps inappropriate, were merely emotional reactions to an abandonment without notice. Rebecca simply played the video of the live stream. Then she presented the surveillance footage from my shop, the documentation of unauthorized charges on the bank card, as well as the sworn testimony of friends regarding the defamation campaign. The screenshots of the group conversation were particularly damning. When the judge read the part where Bree was giving instructions to Madison telling her to make sure all my female clients knew what a piece of trash I was, his expression hardened. Your Honor, continued Rebecca, my client immediately took legal measures instead of retaliating. He sought appropriate protection while Miss Ellis and her accomplices launched a coordinated attack against his reputation. She also filed statements from clients who canceled their projects after receiving anonymous emails filled with false accusations. In addition to the documentation concerning the disputed charges and the theft report of my motorcycle parts. Patricia leaned forward, whispering furiously in Mr. Henderson's ear. He looked uncomfortable, but stood up. Your Honor, we would like to present a character witness for Miss Ellis. Her father is present and would like to speak in her favor. The judge nodded. Mr. Ellis, please step forward. Thomas stood up, but instead of going to their table, he walked to the center of the courtroom. Your Honor, I came today to tell the truth, not to defend the indefensible. My daughter and her mother thought I was here to support them, but I cannot in good conscience do so. Patricia gasped. Bree widened her eyes. I have known Marcus for 3 years. He is honest, hardworking, and has always respected my daughter. The behavior you see in this video is not what I instilled in her. He turned directly to Bree. I am deeply disappointed in the person you have chosen to become. Patricia jumped up. Thomas, what are you doing? The judge struck his gavel. Madam, sit down, or I will have you removed. Thomas continued calmly. Your Honor, I fully support Marcus's request for protection and damages. Actions have consequences, and it is high time my daughter learned them. After that, the judge had no patience left for the victim role played by Bree. Miss Ellis, he said, the court views very severely the use of defamation as a weapon in a personal conflict. The evidence was clear. He granted the permanent protective order. Bree had to stay at least 100 yards away from me, my home, and my business. No direct or indirect contact. That included no calls, no texts, no social media messages, and especially no friends doing the dirty work for her. Regarding the defamation case, the judge issued a preliminary injunction ordering Bree, Madison, and the other identified friends to immediately cease all statements about me or my business. He also ordered them to send retraction emails to every contacted client. Counselor, replied the judge coldly to their lawyer, your client showed a pattern of harassment, made unauthorized expenses, trespassed illegally, disrupted his business, and coordinated a defamation campaign. If anything, Mr. Cole showed restraint by not pursuing criminal charges. The order is upheld. Bree's expression was pure shock. Patricia stammered about an appeal and blamed everyone except her daughter. Madison looked like she had swallowed a wasp. Leaving the room, Rebecca gave me a satisfied nod. The defamation lawsuit continues. We will ask for damages for business losses and punitive damages given the malicious nature of their actions. I expect they will want to settle this quickly. Thomas approached in the hallway. I shook his hand and thanked him. Leaving the courthouse, I did the mental math of my losses. $18,000 in non-refundable wedding deposits, $12,000 for the ring, $2,700 in fraudulent charges still disputed, $2,200 in stolen parts, and about $28,000 in canceled projects, so nearly $63,000 total. Not counting new locks, security cameras, legal fees, and incalculable damage to my personal and professional reputation. All in, this relationship had cost me almost $75,000. But I told myself it could have been much worse if I had married her. Thank God, I dodged a nuclear bomb, not just a bullet. Rebecca was right. 3 days later, Mr. Henderson called her with a settlement offer of $15,000 in business damages plus my legal fees. In exchange, he wanted me to sign a non-disclosure agreement regarding the video. Tell them I take the money, but no NDA, I told Rebecca. That video is my insurance policy. Mr. Henderson came back with a counteroffer of $20,000 plus fees with a limited NDA, prohibiting only publishing the video online. I accepted. The final document was signed a week later. 6 months have passed since, and the fallout is pure karmic justice. The restraining order and the defamation judgment are now public records. The savings for the dream wedding are gone, swallowed by lawyers, settlements, and lost deposits. Thomas filed for divorce from Patricia 2 days after the hearing. 27 years of marriage swept away in an instant. Apparently, he had enough of the way she encouraged Bree in her worst behaviors and made his final decision after seeing the defamation campaign Patricia had helped orchestrate. He also cut Bree off financially. She had to move in with Patricia, who herself is struggling with the divorce proceedings. Thomas's security company was worth a lot, and Patricia had signed a prenup back in the day that severely limited her rights. I heard through the Austin grapevine that Thomas had sold their West Lake Hills house and bought a ranch near Fredericksburg in the Texas Hill Country. Madison lost her job in marketing after her boss saw proof of her campaign against me, including defamatory emails sent on company time. Apparently, sabotaging other people's businesses is not appreciated by employers who value professional integrity. I moved to the other side of town. A place with a better garage, more space for my tools and projects, with proper ventilation for painting and mechanics. Business has been exploding since this whole story. I hired 2 mechanics and expanded our fabrication department. We are booked for 8 months, now refusing basic maintenance to focus on more profitable custom projects. Carlos, who supported me all along, is now my partner with a 15% share. His investment accelerated our expansion plans. 2 months ago, Thomas stopped by the shop. He handed me a bottle of bourbon and a set of rare cylinder heads I had been looking for a long time. "I thought you might need these for that 48 panhead you talked about," he said, "and I thought we could share a drink." No reason for 2 men of value not to remain friends. I accepted both. We continue to see each other every 2 weeks to have a drink and talk bikes. Comment: sometimes the hardest moments in life are the most important wake-up calls we'll ever get. It takes immense courage to walk away from someone you love when they stop treating you with the respect you deserve. Real strength isn't about getting even or causing a scene. It's about protecting your peace and handling hard situations with dignity. Notice how staying true to your values draws the right people into your life, even when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Surround yourself with people who see your worth and stand by you when the storm hits. Closing a painful chapter makes room for a new life that aligns with your purpose and passion. Don't be afraid to set firm boundaries, because they're essential for your mental and emotional well-being. Trust that when you choose self-respect over comfort, life often rewards you in ways you never expected. You deserve relationships that celebrate your success instead of diminishing your hard work. Keep building, keep growing, and never apologize for prioritizing your happiness and stability. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.